Hey guys, welcome to Italy and welcome to Lake Como. I'm actually a few days ahead of the Concorso di Eleganza, and the reason why I came here is because of this car, the brand new BMW i5 M60. It's finally here. I drove the car a few weeks ago, you've seen that review, but now it's time to get an exclusive look at its exterior design. And as you can see, it is quite different than the G30 generation, which will be going out this year. So let's start right away with the design, then we'll talk about the power specs, interior, and some other things. As you can see at the front, totally reinterpreted front fascia. You have, of course, the M Sport package specific to M performance cars. This is the top of the line BMW i5 right now. And as you can see, this one has the M Sport Pro package. And because of that, you're getting a few additional bits compared to the normal M Sport package. One of them, you will see right there, will be the addition of carbon fiber mirrors. And in the back, I'm going to show you one more thing. But before that, let's talk about the kidney grille, because as you can see, it is a little bit larger than on the G30, but of course not as large as on the i7, 7 Series or any other M product that you might have seen recently with a very, very large kidney grille. On the i5 M60, it is different than on the regular 5 Series models. You will see that on the E40 and also on the regular ICE models right behind me. So let's talk about that. As you can see right here, you have these horizontal slats, which are unique to the i5 M60. They're blacked out, of course, to denote the sportiness of the car. And naturally, you are getting an illuminated trim all around this. That's an optional feature on all the new 5 Series. As you can see, there are no air openings here. Everything is closed up. This is an all-electric 5 Series. On the bottom, you can see the M Sport Pro package with these large air openings. Right there, of course, you do need some cooling, and it looks quite aggressive with a black piano color and of course this matte black right there. And you have these nice aero blades on the side for additional aerodynamic properties. The hood is also what you expect to see now on the new BMWs. It's very aggressive in styling. Of course, you got these creases running across. As you can see, a couple coming through the sides, and of course the central crease that you've seen on some other new BMWs as well. If you look a little bit from the side, maybe you can see a more of a slanted nose. So it's got this little bit of a shark nose, typical to BMW cars. You can see it right here from that angle, just a little bit slanted enough to give the car some really nice road presence. There are no more laser lights, so you are getting the LED lights right there. But of course, it does come with those blue graphics inside, and that's only for styling purposes. Of course, speaking of the headlights, they're new. And as you can see, they're quite slick in size. They wrap around the front end quite a bit. And of course, you have these two inner graphics, which you might have seen on some of the new models like the X1. And of course, we've seen in spy photos. I can expect to see these on the new 5 Series. Very, very unique. And of course, it will stand out if you put this car next to the G30. So that's kind of the front end of the car. Of course, there is no frunk here, so you cannot open this one. There is no storage space in there. We're going to talk about the storage space in the trunk. But before we do that, let me talk about the specs. So this one delivers about 601 horsepower, so just a little bit over 600 horsepower. It might be 601 PS, which really comes down to about 590 something horsepower. So if you're going for that particular metric. Now, if you're talking about the torque, about 820 Newton meters of torque with the e-boost function, and that's enough to take this car from 0 to 62 miles per hour, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.8 seconds. So it is quite fast. I've had a chance to push the car on the track in Miramar, and I can tell you it is really good. So if we're talking about the i5 being an electric car, of course, we have to talk about the range. So we don't have the EPA figures yet, but on the WLTP, this one has a range of about 516 kilometers. If you want to charge the car from 10 to 80%, it will take about 30 minutes because it comes with a 205 kilowatts charging capability. So that's on the BMW i5 M60. Now, let's move to the side a little bit and show you the side view as well. Of course, it has aero wheels. Those are optional aero wheels on the i5 M60 by color. You can spec this with the red calipers or blue calipers, so you do have an option there. And on this particular model, it comes with 19 to 21 inch wheels. If you're getting the i5 E40 or the 530 right next to me, you have the option to go from 18 to 21 inches. And of course, there are plenty of wheel styles to choose from. I'm not sure if this is specific to the US market or not, but you are getting an M badge on the fender right there as well. I know that's usually a European thing. And as I mentioned earlier, you are getting the carbon fiber mirror caps. Just like the i4 and the i7, you are getting flush door handles. Again, no surprise there. We've seen plenty of spy photos, and we've seen that in my previous review of the i5 prototype. Very clean shapes from the side. Of course, you got this character line that's typical to BMW running all across, going to the front fender right there. It's meant to emphasize the sportiness of the car from the side, and of course it gives the car a little bit more width. You do have a little bit of a cleaner shape here compared to the G30, so you don't have the concave and convex shapes that you've seen on that model. So a lot cleaner surfaces there. And then of course you have this rocker panel, the side skirts on the bottom, which are a little bit different than what you will see on the ICE models, and I'll explain that when we get to that video as well. Now we're gonna go inside in a second, but we're gonna move to the back quickly because it's starting to rain out here, so I wanna make sure that we get everything on the outside. Of course, you have the charging port right there. So you have the DC fast charging or the regular level 2 and level 1. You have the 5 series or the number 5 embedded here to denote this is the new 5 series. There is no more Hofmeister King, so this is a new interpretation of the Hofmeister King. I wouldn't even call it a Hofmeister King. Of course, no surprise there. We've seen it on other new BMWs as well. BMW tends to move away from that iconic element. Now, if you go to the back, you will see a brand new design, of course, and that starts with the taillights. Once again, very slim. They do wrap around the car quite a bit. They're very large in size, but slim in height. You can see you have 2 inner graphics parallel running across. It looks actually really good, especially under this light because it's getting dark out here, and you can see their shape quite nicely. The M60 badge, there is no xDrive after that, so they decided to keep it a little bit cleaner. And because you're getting the M Sport Pro package, you have this carbon fiber spoiler right here, very, very subtle, but I'm sure there will be some M Performance options as well in the future. i5, of course, on the boot as well. And speaking of the boot, let me open this up. If you are getting the BEV version, the fully electric, you are losing a little bit of the cargo capacity, so you have about 490 liters compared to 520. And you have a storage space right there, then of course one underneath here. It changes from model to model, so if you're getting the ICE version, you're getting a lot more space in there, but a lot less there, or vice versa, something like that. But essentially, that's the it's 490 versus 520. Let me close this up. If you look from the back, you're getting a piano black painted diffuser. There are no pipes, of course, because it's an electric car. So with that being said, how about we hop inside and take a look at that design because it's quite new on the 5 Series as well. Let's take a look. All right, so here we are inside the new BMW i5 and the new 5 Series, and of course, it is all brand new. And as you'd expect, it does mimic what you've seen on the new 7 Series and i7. So let's start off with that maybe. So of course, the very large curved display, no surprise there as well. This one is powered by iDrive 8.5. I'm going to talk about that a little bit because you have this new feature called Quick Select. And I'm going to talk about the other feature that's new, which is called the Air Console. Essentially, it's a gaming feature inside the i5, but more on that in a second. Now, when you talk about the similarities with the 7 Series, we have to mention the interaction bar. As you can see, it goes all around the car, basically onto the left side. Same as on the i7, you can change the colors there, and you can have different color schemes as well. We will play with that when we get a chance to spend more time with the car. Optional carbon fiber, of course, with silver inserts. You've seen this in the new i7 M70 as well. Of course, it's supposed to be very aggressive looking and sporty. And then if we talk about other similarities with the 7 Series, the center console right here, of course, it is almost identical to the one in the i7. As you can see, there is no more gear shifter. You have this little rocker switch right here, so that's how you shift gears. And then of course you have the volume right there, and luckily it was still retaining the iDrive knob, which is quite nice to see. This whole area, it's painted in piano black as well, and once again, that's supposed to emphasize the luxury aspect of the car. You have wireless charging right here, only on the left side apparently, so that's only a phone holder, but that's the actual wireless charging there. 2 cup holders. It doesn't have the cooling and heating that you would get in some other high-end BMWs. Of course, plenty of storage space, absolutely no surprise there. 4 individual air conditioning settings, so you can see in the back you have a set of new switches and buttons right there, very unique. Now let's talk about the steering wheel, because this is new and this is something that I wish we would have seen in other new BMWs as well, like M products. Or this is essentially the same steering wheel from the 7 Series, from the i7, a flat bottom steering wheel, and then of course you have this red dot at 12 o'clock, which emphasizes the M Sport Pro package of the car. So if you're getting the M Sport Pro package, you're getting this. If you're going for the M Sport package, you're gonna get this in black, basically. The boost, of course, you have this on the left side if you want to get additional bursts of power while you're driving. I've talked about that in my drive review. And other than that, of course, I do have to mention the seats, M Sport seats, but compared to the regular seats, this one actually has a combination of Veganza, which is their vegan leather, and it's combined actually with Alcantara. And right behind those stitches right here, right behind the leather, you can actually see the M logos, and you're gonna see that in the B-roll, because if you move the camera from different angles, you can see the M colors right behind that leather. So perforated leather, and if you look inside there, you will see the M colors, which is a really nice touch. All the 5 Series come with this Veganza leather option. Of course, you can spec it with different trims inside, so you can customize the 5 Series quite a bit. This one has the panoramic roof, but apparently it's only the US that gets the sunroof and the panoramic roof. And essentially, if you're getting the sunroof, which is standard in the US, you will be able to actually open it. This one, it's a fixed one, and apparently it's available all over the world. The rest of the world doesn't get the sunroof, at least for now. Of course, because this is iDrive 8.5, you are losing the physical buttons. I've talked about that quite a bit, so everything gets moved inside the screen. It is a little bit easier to adjust the settings, as I've showed you in the 8.5 iDrive review. A lot easier to access some of these functions. And you can see right there, they have this digital display of your dashboard, and you can play around with the settings, so a lot easier to operate the functions. The voice controls have improved quite a bit in 8.5, and if you missed that review, you can always see it on our YouTube channel, but I will give you a demo on that in the next few days, and we can talk about that a lot more. But essentially, a little bit more simplified. Of course, you have this quick select feature on the left side, which replaces the tiles that you would see on the home screen. The home screen right now will always show the maps. BMW believes that the map is the most important item in the car, and they're always going to display that. And then you have different tiles here that you can configure and change different settings of the iDrive. So this is the design up front of the new 5 Series. We're going to go take a look in the back and see if anything has changed there. So let's take a quick look. All right, so I'm in the back seat of the new 5 Series, and of course, as you'd expect, you have quite a lot of space. Naturally, it's a car that sits between the 3 and the 7 Series. I'm not sure exactly if there is a lot more leg room than on the G30. I think size-wise, they're not that much different, but nonetheless, I am 6'2", about 1.9 meters tall, and you can see the legroom right here. The seat maybe could be even moved further a little bit because I was not in the perfect driving position, but nonetheless, I do have a few inches of knee room right here. You can see the headroom, at least the palm, so at least 6-7 centimeters, if not more there. I sit quite comfortably because the bench is a little bit tilted backwards, so that gives me a lot more headroom right there. Elbow room, it's quite nice actually. They have this really nice sculpted design into the door, and you can see it actually, it's kind of sculpted in, and you can just rest your elbow there, and it will give you more additional elbow room. So very spacious. Of course, it's a car for 3 people in the back if you want to travel with 3 people, and that should be fine, especially if you're going over long distances. You will have decent room right here. I've talked about the controls earlier. The AC controls, you can see right here, nicely illuminated. Digital, of course, and it's all about digital in this car, so no surprise there as well. Because it's an M Sport or package, and it's the i5 M60, you are getting the BMW M color stitches on the seat belt, and then of course this is still a vegan option leather, so it's not the real leather, but you can spec the car in different ways. Speaking of that, you can actually have the car to be fully vegan if you want to, but if you're looking for some wood trim and all of that, you will have the option to get that as well. USB ports all over, of course. You have one right there in the back of each seat, and of course you got two additional right there. So if you travel with kids, there should be plenty of ports for you to charge the devices. So once again, this is the back seat of the BMW 5 Series. Really no major surprises here. You can fold the seats down for additional cargo space if you want to. And one thing worth mentioning, maybe right there, you are getting the Bowers & Wilkins standard. And the speakers, of course, are illuminated because why not? It's a luxury car, so BMW wants to emphasize that. So this is the BMW i5 M60. It goes on sale this year, and then of course we will drive the car once again towards the end of this year. But for now, just wanted to give you a quick design overview of the car, of the specs. Of course, there are a lot more specs that I can talk about, but this should do it for now. And we're gonna go right now to the i4 eDrive 40, which is the base model for the i5, and we're gonna chat on that as well. So let's go take a look. And as always, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.